The Titanoboa will show no mercy when you accidentally find yourself in its territory. It will hunt you down and take you as prey, just like it's almost happened with these close encounters. This man attempts to stalk and grab the Titanoboa right out of the water. When you think of large snakes, they often tell you that they can weigh up to at least 400 pounds, so attempting to pull one out of the water is a very risky move. While canoeing down an Amazon basin, a man came across this giant snake trying to swim and hide from their presence. Its stomach is absolutely massive after having eaten something fairly bigger than itself, and gave its hiding spot away. The man thought it would be a great idea to try and stalk it, following it closely and attempting to grab it if given the opportunity to do so. When that so-called opportunity arose, he is quick to grab the end of its tail before it's able to make a grand escape. The snake is absolutely terrified and tries to wriggle free, but because of this though, the two of them got into insane trouble with the government afterwards. Would you try and pull its tail like that? Another underwater Titanoboa nearly knocks over this man's boat trying to pass by. While simply trying to get some fishing in, this man noticed this bizarre snake-like movement make its way over towards his boat. Again, its bloated stomach gave its appearance away, and he was taken aback at how massive this thing was. When it got closer to his boat, the guy braced for impact, terrified that he was going to be knocked over from the sheer force of this monster, making a beeline towards him. The monstrous snake rocks his boat as it tries to sneak its way under it, rattling him a little bit as it finally manages to make it past. The man, however, still mesmerized with its size, follows the camera with it as it tries to disappear into a bush. Based on the stomach size alone, this snake had to be at least 25 feet long, so I understand the panic that this man was possibly feeling. Thankfully, it already ate. The Titanoboa was caught on the run after it had just broken into someone's home. There are so many reports of people noticing more snakes finding themselves comfortable in people's houses, often discovering them in their attics, their beds, and even their toilets. Whenever the temperature becomes too much for snakes to handle outside, they'll attempt to hide in the closest shelter possible, even if that means there are a bunch of humans living inside of it. In this video though, this snake is climbing over a hill after it just slithered out from someone's window, not wanting to deal with the screaming woman who woke up and saw it in her kitchen. This woman began swinging around a bat trying to get this thing to leave, and when it finally got the hint that this would not be a safe area to hide from the weather, it moved on. Would you react the same? This juvenile Titanoboa was ambushed by locals after accidentally being seen on a hike. When you're hiking out in the wilderness, you're bound to come across bizarre circumstances that make you want to run for the hills. When it comes to witnessing your very first giant snake sighting, it's one to remember. A man had decided to take a morning stroll along the hills of Balido when he noticed this giant, dark, shadowy figure crossing the fields off in the distance. At first, it just simply looked like a log, until he got closer and noticed that it was actually a giant snake. Not sure what species of snake it was, he had a hunch based on the massive size alone that it had to be a juvenile Titanoboa. He took out his phone and immediately started recording, getting up close and personal with this incredibly dangerous animal, maybe a little too courageous. The snake, however, did not want to deal with this mess and tried to bugger off. The Titanoboa was caught in the act of trying to sneak into a local town, hunting for pets and people. Snakes are known to take on any animal that lives and breathes, and that includes us. Sadly, when people live in an area that has dangerous animals such as these, they need to keep their pets safe as well. When a local town has both humans and pets that a giant snake can go after, it will take up that opportunity. This man captured the Titanoboa in the act of being on the hunt for its next meal, and you could tell based on how its stomach isn't enlarged with food, it's still on the lookout. This thing is massive, and as the camera pans from the bottom of its tail to try and get a look at its head, it had to be at least 30 feet long. If you saw the snake trying to get into your town, would you be brave enough to stop it? The Titanoboa was once thought to be a myth belonging only in nightmares, but after its real fossil discovery in 2002, everything changed. Let's check out some Titanoboa sightings that have left the public in shock. This man actually got to swim next to the Titanoboa. Snakes being able to swim underwater for extended periods of time is terrifying because you never know when one might bite ya when you're least expecting it at the beach. Snakes are able to hold their breath for at least 30 minutes, if not more, and are still able to strike at you while doing so. This man and his camera crew had just come across a 30-foot long juvenile Titanoboa, and they were going to record every minute of their encounter. While diving into the water, they did their best to try and get as close as possible to her face, and you can clearly tell that she is not happy about this. They are getting extremely close to comfort and might have forgotten that a snake can strike you in 50 to 90 milliseconds, not nearly enough time for you to get away. The Titanoboa and another snake are seen falling through the ceiling of someone's home. Snakes are finding the best spot to hide being right within our attics. It provides a safe space for them, hiding from predators and apparently being a great space to hang out with their snake friends. This video was taken in Malaysia when workers were on the scene for a woman who told them about mysterious sounds happening above her head in the walls. As they cut a piece of the ceiling off, a singular tail came down out and surprised them, and as they tried to continuously yank on this thing, all of the ceiling just came crumbling to pieces. There, a Titanoboa and one other buddy of theirs were seen all cuddled up, trying to hide within the dark crevices of this poor woman's home. It's a good thing she called when she did. Who knows if they would have seen her as a meal one of these nights when they decided to come out. A 40-foot-long Titanoboa was finally captured on camera swimming downstream. The Titanoboa was notorious for being one of the biggest reptiles of its time, taking on alligators and other various dinosaurs simply because it had the size to do so. This video that was taken by a tourist finally shows us that Titanoboas can still reach their monstrous size if we leave their natural habitats alone. Based on the video, as it's trying to climb over a rock, we get to see that its body matches the exact same description as the discovery that was made in 2002, rumored that the Titanoboa can reach the height of an adult man's waist. People are gathered around here in awe as they try to figure out how a snake of that size is able to exist. If you were the one watching this guy cross the river, how would you respond to this? The Titanoboa was caught making more Titanoboa babies. We know that some snakes are able to reproduce asexually, meaning they don't necessarily need a male to help aid in that. But I guess with this female Titanoboa, she was feeling rather lonely. While exploring some parts of the wilderness, this woman came across one massive snake and a smaller counterpart, all coiled up together, coming down a dirt path. At first, it looks like one massive snake that's covered in a bunch of debris, but it's actually how they mate with one another. The male will wrap itself around the female as they both travel and search for a burrow to create offspring in. It's absolutely bizarre though watching a female Titanoboa string along this tiny little creature into its burrow. Researchers have stated that when two snakes try and mate, they can remain in this entanglement for hours. How romantic. This Titanoboa strikes the cameraman out of nowhere. People often forget that snakes give you very clear signs before they decide to strike you. When you get too close within their personal space, they begin to coil up around their head, and with a spring-like action, they project themselves forward at such intense speeds. Some snake specialists even state that to avoid having a snake strike at you, you need to stop them from winding up that first coil. With this snake in the video though, the poor guy did not stand a chance at the end when the snake finally made its move, leading the video to end abruptly and the viewers questioning what happened to the guy afterwards. He did write in the description though that he was okay and that this was his own snake pet. Still, even with pets, you never know when they will decide to turn on you. Do you have any footage of the Titanoboa on your travels? Send them to us and I'll be sure to talk about them in the next video.